There's a moment every season when the Dallas Cowboys make the entire league stop and stare. That moment might be closer than anyone thinks, because if recent reports are right, Jerry Jones and Brian Schottenheimer could be preparing one of the biggest moves of the year, a blockbuster trade for Jets running back Breece Hall, one of the most explosive young playmakers in the NFL. And if this happens, Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because this team would instantly become a nightmare for every defense in the league. Let's start with what we know. The Cowboys' backfield this season has been a roller coaster. Dallas let Rico Dowdle walk in free agency, and he made them regret it, putting up monster numbers in Carolina. Then they brought in Javonte Williams, a player many had written off after Denver. But look at him now, one of the best stories in football, running with purpose, averaging over 5 yards per carry, ranking top 4 in the league in rushing yards, and proving he's still got that spark. He's answered every question about his toughness and drive. But here's the truth, Dallas needs more. The Cowboys don't just want a good backfield, they want a dominant one. And that's where Breece Hall comes in. Hall isn't just another running back, he's a game changer, the kind of player who can flip the field in a single play. In just 6 games with the Jets this season, Hall has over 560 yards from scrimmage, and that's in one of the least efficient offenses in the entire NFL. Imagine that kind of explosion behind Dallas's offensive line, with Dak Prescott orchestrating one of the most balanced attacks in football and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens stretching the field vertically. That's not just scary, that's Super Bowl-level potential. Hall's running style fits Dallas perfectly. He's decisive, powerful, and slippery, a nightmare to bring down in open space. He doesn't dance in the backfield, he hits the hole and punishes defenders. That's exactly what Brian Schottenheimer wants in the system, a physical north-south runner who can also break the game wide open with speed and vision. Hall can take pressure off Dak, help control the tempo, and keep defenses honest. Every great Dallas offense has had that kind of back, from Emmitt Smith to DeMarco Murray to Ezekiel Elliott in his prime. Breece Hall could be the next in that lineage. Now, some say the Cowboys shouldn't make a splash at running back, that the defense needs more attention. And yes, that's a fair argument. The defense has struggled to find its footing since the Micah Parsons trade. The run stopping has been inconsistent, and the pass rush, while talented, hasn't had the same bite. But here's the thing, championship teams don't settle for balance, they go for impact. And an offense that can control the game, dominate time of possession, and score in bunches is just as valuable as an elite defense. Dallas doesn't need to choose one side of the ball to strengthen. They can do both. And with extra draft capital from the Parsons deal, Jerry Jones can afford to go bold again. Make no mistake, a trade for Breece Hall wouldn't just be a transaction, it would be a statement. It would say that Dallas isn't waiting for next year. It would say this franchise is done playing it safe. It would say the Cowboys are going all in for a championship run right now. That's what fans want. That's what this locker room needs to feel. Because every player in that building, from Dak to Lamb to Kenny Clark, knows the window is open. And if there's one thing Jerry Jones has never shied away from, it's swinging for the fences when he smells opportunity. And what about Breece Hall himself? He's a competitor who's been stuck in a system that doesn't showcase his full potential. He's 23 years old, entering his prime, and despite being the Jets' best offensive weapon, the team looks ready to rebuild again. They're unlikely to pay him a massive extension with so many holes elsewhere. That means Hall could be available for the right offer. And Dallas, with multiple first-rounders and a front office known for creativity, could easily make it work. Hall to Dallas just makes sense. His ability to rip off 50-yard runs fits perfectly with Schottenheimer's play-action heavy system. He'd open lanes for Dak Prescott, give Lamb more single coverage, and turn short gains into highlight reel touchdowns. And you know who would love this move more than anyone? Dak himself. Because with Hall in the backfield, defenses can't just sit back and play coverage. They'd have to respect the run again, and that changes everything for a quarterback who thrives on rhythm and timing. Let's also not overlook how this could impact the locker room. Moves like this send a message that ownership believes in the team, that the front office is willing to invest in greatness, and that mediocrity is not an option. For the Cowboys players grinding through the ups and downs of this season, a trade for Breece Hall would inject instant belief. It would tell them, we're not just playing to compete, we're playing to win it all. Now, could this be too ambitious? Maybe. But history tells us that Jerry Jones never backs down from ambition. Whether it's the Herschel Walker trade, the Micah Parsons deal, or the countless aggressive draft moves, Jerry understands one thing. In Dallas, you don't build quietly, you build boldly. Because Cowboys football isn't about surviving the season, it's about defining it. And the timing couldn't be better. The NFC is wide open. The Eagles have shown cracks. The 49ers look human again. Detroit is tough, but untested in the playoffs. This is the moment for Dallas to seize control. With Dak playing efficient, mistake-free football, CeeDee Lamb set to return healthy, and the offense already ranked near the top in total yards, imagine adding Breece Hall to that mix. That's not just another piece. That's a weapon of mass disruption. Of course, the defense still needs to clean up the fundamentals. Matt Eberflus has to stabilize his unit, stop the run, and find leadership up front. But the return of DeMarvion Overshown soon will help, and the defensive front, anchored by Kenny Clark and James Houston, has started to show signs of growth. If the offense becomes unstoppable, it gives the defense time to find its rhythm, and in this league, momentum can shift overnight. So let's dream for a second, Cowboys Nation. Imagine AT&T Stadium on a Sunday afternoon, Dak Prescott under center, Breece Hall lined up behind him, Lamb in motion, Pickens split wide, Turpin ready to break one on special teams, the crowd roaring, the offense clicking, and Dallas looking every bit like the powerhouse we all know they can be. That's not fantasy. That's what could happen if Jerry and Schottenheimer make this move. This isn't just about one trade. It's about identity, about sending a message that the Cowboys still believe in their mission, that the star on the helmet still stands for something bigger. Breece Hall could be the spark that reignites that fire, the missing piece that turns Dallas from potential to powerhouse. So now I turn it over to you, Cowboys Nation. Would you make the move? Would you trade for Breece Hall if it meant turning this offense into the most dangerous unit in the NFL? Drop your thoughts below. Do you think Jerry should go all in now or stay patient with Javonte Williams? Because one thing's for sure, this story isn't over. And here on Cowboys Nation Report, we'll be here every step of the way, riding this wave with you. Hit that like button, share your take in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because this season, the Cowboys aren't just making noise, they're making history.